Now, in every pop culture, uh, subculture society, there is a certain amount of elitism. I come across a lot as a gamer. I'm sure you probably do too in your own little way. We have something we like to call old school gamers. Old school gamers started gaming around the late to mid to late 70s to the early 80s. These are the people that started in the wave. A lot of them were old enough to know the original chainmail D&D stuff, the original Dungeons and Dragons, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, you know, which is affectionately known as Second Edition. Um, and a lot of them are old enough to know about Irving Bink Pulling, the kid who shot himself because his character got cursed. Um, it's these same people that drive me up a fucking wall sometimes. I have a few friends of mine that are old school gamers, um, but they have this weird sense of how things were and how things should be, and those two are very mutually inclusive. How things were, this very self contained kind of society, or this self contained community, rather, was all that it should have been. It was almost their way of having their own sorority or fraternity, or, you know, I wanted to say sorority too, because there had to have been a couple of females. The idea behind the old school gamer is that everything that was is good. Everything that is shit. Now, the world thrives on new ideas. In the last 30 years, new games have come out. Actually, the last 40 years, really. New games have been created, new systems, new storylines. But for some reason, there are a group of hardcore people that have decided that only the stuff made from this point to this point are any good. Um, Let me give you an example, I suppose. Dungeons and Dragons is now currently working on its fifth edition, which is not bad for a game. Pardon, for a game that is well well over 40 years old. 1977 was when Dungeons and Dragons was first created from the scraps of the game Chainmail, which was an old war game. So 1977, 40 years makes that 19, oh, almost 40 years. So 1977 to 2000, 2012 or 2013 now. Once it's 2017, then it will be officially 40 years. So these people that clung to the old way of Dungeons and Dragons feel that there is nothing good that was not touched by the hand of Gary Gygax. Um, Completely forgetting Dave Arneson, of course. Um, but anything that wasn't written from the 1977 on to 1980, anything from that point is shit and should never be. Um, and everyone's got their own little thing. Each of the four versions has a cult following, and there's very few that kind of bleed over. I actually heard a person use the phrase, and I quote, "Second edition was the only pure Dungeons and Dragons." I'm not quite sure what the fuck pure Dungeons and Dragons is, but it makes that person sound like more of a fucking dork than we normally do. We're not very popular people, as if you hadn't already guessed. Um, a lot of the stereotypes that you get about gamers are true. We are social outcasts. And the thing is it's not always against our will. In fact, most of the time, it's our own goddamn fault because we have been, and this is where the old schoolers kind of come in. We have been socially bred by our own insecurities into feeling that we have to be um, almost secretive in our relationships. Like, if somebody genuinely comes up and wants to play a game, or to try one of these games, the first instinct for most normal people would be to invite this new person in. A lot of old school gamers will try to drive these people away as almost like some sort of initiation test, which is fucking stupid. It's the idea that, well, we weren't good enough for society, so now they have to be good enough for us. How is that being any better than the football players that picked on you? So, whatever. I'm going to a convention next month. Uh, it is, from what I understand, it's an old convention. And I go to compete in the Iron GM, which is a competition where, of course, I got to compete in a competition. I'm not just going to go down there and fucking play. The Iron GM pits, excuse me, pits a group of game masters against each other, and they give you 3 plot elements and an hour to build a game. And the one who scores a more perfect score is deemed the Iron GM, or at least of that region, and they get to go to Gen Con in Indianapolis for free. I placed 3rd last year, and I would very much like to try it again. Now, there are a few old school GMs there that seemed to have a preset idea of how a game should be run. None of them liked the fact that I didn't sit down, that I did voices, that I made people describe what they were doing. Because it's supposed to be role playing, as in ROLE playing. You're supposed to describe what your character does, and just kind of get into the feel of who your character is. So a lot of those old people kind of look down on new gamers like myself because we buck the traditions that they have felt are just necessary in order to keep the hobby as they know it alive. And unfortunately, that attitude has begun to stagnate it. There are a lot of people now that might be interested in running RPGs or playing in RPGs, and this older generation, and the generations that have been taught by that older generation, they have kind of gotten this idea that it's an exclusive club and you have to go through some sort of weird asshole initiation to get into it, which is really stupid. We have a club around the area that specializes in some novelty board games and playing them. And the idea is that they want to spread this love around. Well, when a store asked them, would you like to use our space, they said no. We're the head of the group said no. We don't want to use your free space that we don't have to pay for in a store because we're afraid that it's not going to be ours again. Well, that'll take away of what it's supposed to be. Well, your mission statement said that you're supposed to share the love of board games. And what better to do that than a public place? You're supporting a local board game store and holding your event at a board game place, or a place that sells the board games that you're But it all comes down to one old school gamer with a fucking ego problem. And that's the idea with a lot of old school gamers is their goddamn ego. They don't play a game to have fun and to weave a story with other people. They play a game to utterly destroy your characters and then go, I'm a better person than you in every shape of the way. Shape of the way. That's bad. Anyway, in every way, shape, or form, I am a better person than you. Bow down before my power as a game master because I don't have any fucking self-esteem. And sadly enough, it's kind of led me to believe that gamers are no better than any other people. We can be dicks like anybody else. So if any old school gamers stumble across this, get down off your fucking high horse, alright? Try to enjoy a game once in a while. It's not the game master versus the player. It's just a fucking game. Don't whine and cry because, a GM destroyed your favorite character. They're imaginary. Unless you can come up with some sort of weird evidence that points to the fact that we are simply tuning in to multiple universes out there. So anyway, that's it. I'm running a little late for the 29th. It is. Well, this one's for the 28th actually. So we'll see you later.